Manchester United are reportedly expecting to close a deal for Paris Saint-Germain's Manuel Ugarte in the near future, and the midfielder is set to arrive at Old Trafford on a permanent basis. Ugarte has been Man United's leading transfer target this summer, but the negotiations with PSG have been difficult due to the French club seemingly being unwilling to drop their $51 million asking price. The midfielder has not been involved for PSG in the early stages of this season, though, and he is believed to have made it clear that he only wants to join the Red Devils despite interest from other clubs. According to transfer expert Fabrizio Romano, a move for Ugarte is now close to being completed. There have been suggestions that Ugarte could move to Old Trafford on loan with an obligation to buy next summer, but Scott McTominay's imminent exit will allow the 20-time English champions to bring the South American to the club on a permanent basis in this window. Man United have allegedly agreed a fee of around $25.4 million with Napoli for McTominay, with the Scotland international now close to leaving the club. The Red Devils rejected at least one offer from Fulham for McTominay earlier this summer, with the club unwilling to sell him for under their valuation. However, with Napoli seemingly agreeing to meet the $25.4 million asking price, a deal is proceeding, with McTominay now set to enter into discussions with the Serie A outfit over personal terms. The 27-year-old was used off the bench in Saturday's Premier League clash with Brighton and Hove Albion. And Man United head coach Erik ten Hag said earlier this summer that he wants the Scot to stay at Old Trafford. However, a permanent exit would count as pure profit under the Premier League's rules surrounding profit and sustainability. And as mentioned, it will allow them to secure a permanent deal for Ugarte in theory. If a move is completed in the first part of next week, then Ugarte could make his Man United debut in next weekend's Premier League clash with Liverpool. However, it does seem more likely that his first outing will come against Southampton after the international break, with Ten Hag potentially being reluctant to throw him straight into action. A spot on the bench against Liverpool cannot be ruled out, but it will depend on how the next couple of days progress, as a deal for McTominay also needs to be agreed. Man United have already signed 4 players this summer, bringing in Joshua Zirkzee, Lenny Yoro, Matthijs de Ligt, and Nasser Mazraoui, and Ugarte is expected to be their 5th and final signing of the current window. Napoli have reached an agreement with Manchester United to sign Scott McTominay. The proposed deal is subject to all parties being satisfied with the player terms. A fee in the region of $30 million has been settled on, and United would receive a share of any future sale from the Italian side. McTominay is under contract at Old Trafford until 2025, and United have an option to extend by 12 months. So discussions still need to be finalized with the 27-year-old. As an academy graduate, McTominay's sale would represent pure profit, and that makes this situation important for United's compliance with Premier League and UEFA financial rules. They have a replacement lined up in the form of Paris Saint-Germain's Manuel Ugarte, an activating that would be aided by the sale of McTominay. Napoli sporting director Giovanni Manna has held exhaustive talks in London and Manchester as the Serie A team work to secure the Scotland international, Chelsea's Romelu Lukaku, and Billy Gilmour of Brighton and Hove Albion. In the 2023-24 season, McTominay had his best goal-scoring campaign, netting 10 times in 43 appearances. He has also improved his goal rate for Scotland, scoring 8 goals since March 2023. The Athletic reported earlier this month that Fulham had made a $20 million bid to sign McTominay, as they look to add to their midfield following the departure of Joao Palhinha to Bayern Munich. That offer fell below United's valuation, and Fulham have since signed Sander Berge, a midfielder United were interested in from Burnley. Chelsea are exploring a deal to sign Manchester United winger Jadon Sancho, with the Blues expected to rival Juventus for his signature. Sancho traveled with Manchester United to Brighton for their second Premier League match of the season on Saturday, but was left out of the squad as the Red Devils were beaten 2-1 by the Seagulls. Questions have remained over Sancho's future at the club, despite Man United boss Erik ten Hag drawing a line under their row, which saw him exiled and loaned to Borussia Dortmund last season. Juventus have been weighing up a loan move for Sancho, which could have also included an obligation to buy the winger for $40 million. Chelsea are also in the race to sign Sancho, with the Blues exploring a potential deal. Mail Sport understands Man United believe talks with Juventus are more advanced for Sancho than with Chelsea. Chelsea are understood to need to offload as many as 6 players before a deal becomes feasible for them, with the club still pursuing a striker this summer. The Blues are open player going to Man United as part of a potential deal for Sancho. Head coach Enzo Maresca has exiled several players from the first-team squad, with Raheem Sterling and Ben Chilwell among key figures banished to a bomb squad. Maresca had claimed earlier this week that it was impossible to give them minutes due to the size of the Chelsea squad. Sterling and Chilwell are training apart, Maresca said on Wednesday. We have a big squad, and it is impossible to give them all minutes. If they're looking for minutes, then it is better if they leave. If they do not leave, then they have a contract here, and they're Chelsea players. Sancho would add to a vast array of attacking options at Chelsea should a deal be completed. Maresca's side started their 6-2 away win over Wolves on Sunday with Mykhailo Mudryk, Cole Palmer, and Noni Madueke lining up behind striker Nicholas Jackson. New signings Pedro Neto and João Felix were introduced from the bench in the second half, alongside Christopher Nkunku. Manchester United's hunt for a midfielder remains an ongoing process, with the club still in talks with Paris Saint-Germain for Manuel Ugarte. While Ineos are busy with discussions regarding the formula to land the Uruguayan, they have decided to rule out one signing this summer. Sofiane Amrabat, who spent last season on loan at Old Trafford, is not coming back as per Sunday's edition of Corriere dello Sport via Sport Witness. Fiorentina were asking for $15 million for the defensive midfielder, but the Red Devils will not satisfy those demands considering how his temporary deal had panned out. The Moroccan looked slow and laborious, struggling to adjust to the pace of the English game, while the lack of a proper preseason did not help matters. Erik ten Hag's decision to play him as an emergency left-back during the injury crisis dented his confidence even further, and at one stage, it looked like his loan deal would be terminated in January itself. The Morocco international did, however, save the best for last as he put in a masterclass display against arch-rivals Manchester City in the FA Cup final. United had kept the 28-year-old's name as a standby should their move for Ugarte get derailed. They were looking at completing another loan deal with the midfielder desperate to reunite with Ten Hag. The Manchester Giants had an option in their loan deal to buy Amrabat for $25 million at the conclusion of the temporary stint. But that never came to pass, and it seems even a permanent deal at a lower price is also not acceptable. The player has already played twice this season, and it seems he is resigned to staying in Italy and is trying his best to rebuild bridges with the club. With Scott McTominay's sale to Napoli edging closer, a deal for Ugarte seems even more likely to occur. In that case, United will be more than happy with the Uruguay international rather than revisiting another deal for Amrabat.